Okay, Susanna here from the Good Property Company. I'm in Seville just now, listening to the guy speaking Spanish and just thinking about entrepreneurship. I was actually talking with my best friend about my son, who has done all sorts of things like creating skateboards that he got imported from France and selling them to his mates. I don't think he made any money, but he learned how to import, he learned how to get a designer, selling t-shirts, selling CDs, all about skateboarding, because there's a little bit of a skateboarding obsession going on there. And we were reflecting back about entrepreneurship and how look at this, by the way. Can you see? There you go, the horse and carriage just disappearing. Reflecting back how entrepreneurship sometimes takes a while to learn. So if you are at the early stages of learning and really, if you were truthful, you'd be saying you're making some mistakes. Well, how odd not to. So my personal experience was I was just about 18 and I completely loved dancing, and I went to St Andrews Uni, and if anyone went to St Andrews Uni, you'll know that there was very few places to dance. So I started a nightclub, such as it was. So I had to employ DJs and bouncers, and I have to tell you, it was pretty scary stuff because because of the association of nightclub and drugs. And of course I wanted nothing to do with any of that. So there were some pretty scary people coming to my nightclub because of course I wasn't controlling anything, because I refused to get involved in that kind of thing. So that was a learn that maybe nightclub business was not going to be my future. I then, at the age of 22, 23, when Franny was just really little, I started a fair trade business, and that was when fair trade businesses were quite early on. And I fervently, and still do, believe that we should be equal. And I didn't see why necessarily the first world had a lot more economic wealth than necessarily third world. I thought that commerce was a great way of equalising that, because commerce is about shifting finance around. And I ran that fair trade business for 7 years. Basically a bunch of hippie vans going out to festivals, great. Did all sorts of different festivals myself, had vans going out to other festivals. I lived in Scotland, but we went down to kind of Glastonbury and Reading and WOMAD and all that kind of stuff, excuse me. But I also grew it from a tabletop little craft show where basically you set up market stalls to having 5 shops. So learned loads, and I did that for 7 or 8 years. Learned absolutely loads about working with people, managing stock, managing cash flow, working with customers, predicting stuff, logistics. It was pretty good, but also I worked extremely hard. And then I went in and had four jobs because I knew I needed to learn some really sort of more professional skills. Did some more training, got an MBA and such like. Did the Professional Institute of Marketing, because again, really wanted to develop some skills. But those early experiences of being, to be honest, totally terrified running a nightclub, and then later on running a fair trade business for 7 years, where I grew it from really a very small market stall, did lots of festivals and grew it into 5 shops. So a very small chain, but a small chain of shops, was really useful for when I then went on and started my property business. So either you are parents of or friends of somebody who's learning entrepreneurial skills, maybe it isn't going all that well, but in some ways, as long as the person's learning from it, it could well be that is just training ground, and it's kind of like them, going to primary school, secondary school, and then graduating to be an entrepreneur. Because I just don't think the stuff is automatic. I think the desire for independence, the desire for freedom, the resolve and the drive is intrinsic to a person, but the technical skills you need to run a business, if you think about it, a business is strategy, which is the chief exec, it's sales, which is the sales director, it's marketing, the marketing director, it's finance, the finance director, it's operations, the operations director, it's HR, the human resource director. These days it may be IT and compliance. How on earth does one person have all those skills? And the answer really is practice. So if you're struggling, keep going. You're probably learning some brilliant skills, maybe for this business, maybe for the next business. If your friend's struggling, keep encouraging them, get them loads of great books to read, and know that maybe this isn't the end journey, and maybe they'll transform their business having learnt those skills. So a great entrepreneurial background probably really works for property, as well as thinking hard, having a planned route, and taking some of your professional skills as well. But yeah, I probably wouldn't I, I probably wouldn't suggest running a nightclub for too long. It was a bit scary. But the fair trade business was fabulous. I loved that. See you soon. Bye. Oh, and I'm in Seville, by the way. I don't know if I told you that or not.